All right, Coach, so you guys had your first scrimmage of fall on Saturday, so how'd it go?
Yeah, I thought it was good. It was hot as hell out there at 3:30 in the afternoon, but I thought it was great for our players to get adjusted. I think really on the schedule right now, probably Washington State might be the only hot game planned right now, but it's good for us to be able to use that as a home field advantage and us to be able to get out in that climate right now. I think was good. Got about 100 plays in, and so thought it was really good to be able to see and really to be quite honest with you, I thought it was really good from a head coaching standpoint. Defense had success. They created, I think, 3 turnovers. Offense had some success, got some good drives put together. Did a bunch of situational football, a bunch of 2-minute drills, into game situation, into half situations. Had a full crew of refs out there, so it's always good to work those operations. A couple sloppy things here and there, but overall pretty pleased with it. Penalty, I think we only had 3 penalties in the whole entire scrimmage, which is really good for us to see that, the kids are trusting their technique and played a good, clean scrimmage. And it's just good to see guys who could, go out there and put it all together without their coaches out there. And we had some guys that really shine bright and continue to prove that they're ready to play more and more football here. And then we had a couple guys that I thought got out there and had some freak out moments and made some big mistakes that cost us on both sides of the football. And so yeah, I think nowadays, you get these guys year round and you're able to really install and do all this, but really you only get 2 chances to scrimmage in this era. And so, we'll have one more this Saturday at 7:30 at night. I think we're going to go under the lights this week. But overall, I think it was a really good starting point for us.
Yeah, how'd the quarterbacks look?
Yeah, quarterbacks were good. I think all 3 of them did really nice things. I think Drew led us on the first trip all the way down the field. Ended up only getting 3 points out of it because we dropped a touchdown in the end zone, but I thought put together a really good drive. I think Reese started a touch slower, but really came on strong and had a really good 2-minute drive for us. And then his last 2 drives were really good that ended up in points for us. So, yeah, between those 2 and then Jimerson just continues to be super electric when he's in live situations. And, there's probably a couple times where, I blew the whistle dead. If it was truly live, he probably had a 160-yard and 170-yard touchdown running the football. But yeah, those 3 guys continue to improve, and it was big for us to really go back and study those things. And I think it's important for us as coaches, and you want to look at the stats. You want to see, what their completion percentage is, how are they protecting the football, how are they getting us in the right plays, in their checks and stuff. At the same time, you want to see the football move. And so I've always been a big believer that, just with certain quarterbacks out there, the ball seems to move and you score touchdowns. So yeah, but I thought it was a great starting point for all 3 of them.
Yeah, media day, Coach, you mentioned that optimally you'd want 2 weeks to have a name starter at the quarterback position. How confident do you feel about that timeline right now?
Yeah, I think we're going to try to stay on that plan right now. That way a week from now, after 2 scrimmages, you can really sit back and you can look at, a group of plays that they've put together and you have a wide variety of us putting together a lot of data over the course of the last couple of weeks, and you sit down, you compile it, and you make a decision and you go with it. And so hopefully, this week, next week at this time, hopefully we'll have a decision in hand and be able to roll with one guy and start pushing some reps his way.
You mentioned that you saw some guys that really stood out in the scrimmage. Who were those guys?
Yeah, I think, it was good to see, I think our defensive ends continue to get better and better. Josh Pierce was banged up a little bit early on, and he's back full go, and so great to see him get out there and run. Big, long, athletic. I think Ethan Day, we know what he is, really good player. Zaylen Scott's a guy that continues to impress anytime we're in live situations. As physical probably as anybody on our team. He really bought into gaining weight this offseason. He sits right in between 245 and 250 right now. Super explosive, had a couple sacks for us on the day. So I think Bryson Haynes is a guy that's played just a ton of football, that made some really key plays for us. Had a big sack and then a big goal line stand where he made a great play. And so I'm really, pleased with those guys. And then, our 2 corners, I think just with Fisher and Armstead, really, and for a corner, they didn't have a ton of stats, but, they didn't give up any kind of passes on them, any kind of deep balls. And so I think, really good. Now we got to do a good job this next week of really finding out who our 3 and 4 corner are. And so, I think we'll roll a bunch of guys in there and see how they can do, just because I think Fish and Armstead have established themselves as our top two guys right now. And so this next week will be, there's some guys established, but we got to build some depth. We really got to figure out, kind of our inside pieces on the offensive line. And so, where, between Tay Yanta, Dylan Shaw, Gabe Blair, Johnny Dixon, and we mixing and matching those guys in a bunch of different spots and just figure out, by next week at this time, what's our one O-line look like. That way they can really develop some chemistry.
That was interesting to me today, especially since he's coming in here to talk with us here in a bit. What have you seen from him that's helped him establish himself as a top player?
He's just so mature. I mean, he approaches everything like a pro. I mean, just from his nutrition, the way he is in the weight room. He'll be here in the early mornings in the training room, even when he's not hurt, just doing, what we call prehab and making sure that he's staying on top of his body. So, I think just the attention to detail that he has, I mean, and you could really tell, how much bigger and stronger he got this off season, that he's really committed to himself. And so just, it's been a fun, a pleasure of mine just to coach him, just because I think the level of maturity he brings every day, and the way he approaches the meeting room, the way he approaches the nutrition room, I mean, everything is top notch.
Well, and plus you guys played him last year. What was it about him when you saw him last year that you thought that he would be a great fit?
Yeah, I had a great game against us. It's funny, in one of my pictures in my office, I always try to put up pictures from that year. And so when he came in on his visit, he was actually in the back of a picture, and he's chasing down Mackenzie McGill on one of Mackenzie's touchdowns. And so when he committed, I had him take that picture out and sign it for me, so it's autographed, even though we're scoring a touchdown. But he had a great game. I think he gave our tackles problems last year, both in pass protection and some run fit stuff. And I think, he's put on a bunch of size and weight. He's gotten faster, stronger, so I think he's even a better version of himself right now.
In addition to Ethan, you mentioned a couple of other standouts on that defensive line. In that scrimmage, what kind of impact were they able to make against your offense?
Yeah, I thought, they were able to get some sacks, which were huge. And then, interiorly, I mean, I think Richard Outland and June are both of those are our guys that if we played tomorrow, I mean, they'd definitely be our sure starters, played a ton of football, tough. And too, so some of those guys like that, you want to limit some of them. We know what we have there. So I think they played 15, 16 plays. We want to throw a lot on the guys that are 2s and 3s to see how they respond and play in live action. And so it was good to see just our whole D line. A bunch of them did get a ton of reps. And this year, that's something that we want to do. We want to keep our guys fresh. I think going back and watching last year, I think, with Rod and June, I mean, those guys were playing, 60, 70 plays a game, and that's not going to happen this year. I mean, we want to have 8 for sure, and probably even 12 guys that are rotating in to keep these guys fresh. And they're all a little bit different, which is awesome. Have a bunch of length, some different style of pass rushers, and so I think the versatility that those guys will be able to keep offensive lines off guard a little bit.
In that scrimmage as a full coach, what do you feel like you kind of learned that you can't really, observe in practice and compared to that live setting?
Yeah, I think just the mental bust. I think they're used to hearing their coaches scream at them, and during the coaches are so close to them, and it's so controlled when your practice scripted. So when it's unscripted, and all of a sudden they have to think a lot faster, and we complete a long pass down the field for 30 yards, and all of a sudden it's tempo, and you got to get the call, and you got to execute that call in a hurry. So I think you really can see who can process information fast and effectively out there. And there's a bunch of great examples of guys doing a great job doing that, and everybody on the same page, and usually ended up being good for one side or the other. And then, there was some mental bust out there too, where guys went out there and they weren't quite ready, and whether it's the anxiety of the first practice or first live scrimmage without their coach out there, and they busted and they gave up a big play, some form or fashion, or messed up a motion or messed up an assignment, alignment. And so you can really see and tell who's going to be able to stay calm and trust their training and be able to perform under pressure.
Yeah, you mentioned both sides kind of got the better of each other at times. Do you feel like one side or the other, had a better day overall?
No, I really don't. And for me as a head coach, I thought that was really good. I thought, our defense started fast. I think they kept us out of the end zone the first 2 drives with the 1s and the 2s. 3s were able to get it going, scoring. Chris Hawkins had a great day. A freshman running back that's, physically probably ready to play. I mean, 205, 207 pounds. and broke a long 40-yard touchdown for our first touchdown of the day, and ended up having another touchdown later in the day. So he's a guy that, even after that first performance, he was with the scout team and some stuff last week. We transitioned him over. We'll start pushing him more reps and see if we can't get him ready to do something for us this year.
You mentioned that Will was maybe your biggest addition. Why makes you say that he's going to be such a big addition for you?
Yeah, I mean, Will's been through so many different things in his life, and he's played for so many schools. And I think usually that's a red flag when you're recruiting in the portal. He's been completely the opposite. I mean, his leadership characteristics are just off the charts, and I think the way he keeps people together, I think he's cool, calm, collected. He communicates at a really high level, and just has a great skill set back there. I mean, a guy that's running 23 miles an hour who can really close. The safety communication back there, getting everybody lined up, being able to have conversation with the corners, with the linebackers, and make sure that everybody's on the same page. So I think him too is he's kind of like Ethan, like they bring this maturity factor to it. They're older, they've been through it, they've done it. They know how to perform, when the lights turn on.
Sounds like he's got a pretty close friendship with Pat. Is that it? So did they have some chemistry back there that's going to help you?
Yeah, I think for sure. Just playing next to one another all year last year at ODU, I think you develop that over the course of time and going through battles together, right? And so I think they're used to hearing each other's voices. I think that they keep each other accountable. They're not soft on one another. They're not afraid to call each other out when the other one makes a mistake. So yeah, I think that relationship is always a good thing.
Yeah, Wyatt Young's the other guy that we're talking to today. I just wanted to ask what you kind of saw from him in camp so far.
Yeah, I mean, Wyatt's kind of gotten back to where he was at the first of the season last year. And I think Wyatt would be the first guy to tell you is, Wyatt kind of stood out early in the season last year. And I think, took a couple whacks during the course of the season and a couple shots over the middle. One on a bubble screen that we didn't block it right and got blowed up. And so with never playing receiver and being a quarterback before that, I think he got a little eerie and spooked out. And he's totally back to himself. I mean, he's made some unbelievable catches these last couple days. Super versatile. He can play any of the positions that we ask him to. And so we're going to move him around a ton this year. But big, strong, really a headsy player. Really understands the game. And I think that comes from playing quarterback in high school. He's just got a really high football IQ. He's great on special teams. And so I think that kid, the sky's the limit for his season this year.
And looking at that receiver room as a whole, how has it been kind of figuring out your core kind of group of guys so far?
Yeah, it's been good. I mean, I think just there's a ton of battles right now. I think, you got Barron, who continues to come on, who's a big, long target, could be a great red zone guy for us. Shannon King is a guy that has, the ability to take the top off and has had some great practices for us. And on the other side, between Simeon and Cam Dorner, I mean, two older guys that have played a ton of football, continue to battle out there. Kind of a kid who flashed and played really good in the scrimmage was Terrence Lewis, and smaller guy, but just made some unbelievable catches over the middle. Had a sideline touchdown at the end of the scrimmage that Drew threw him a great ball in the court of the end zone. And so Terrence is one that's kind of, as we get into this thing, just each and every day starts earning a little bit more reps here and there just because of his performance every day.
Do one of the quarterbacks have an edge at this point, or are you still?
No, I don't think so. We're still treating it all 50-50 right now. And I don't believe in waiting and procrastinating. Like, I mean, when you're ready to make a decision, you make a decision, you roll with it, and you start pushing those forward. So as soon as we're ready to do it, then we'll name it and we'll roll from it.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, guys.
All right, Wyatt, so you guys had the scrimmage over the weekend. How did it go?
It went really good. As an offense, we did great, and as a team, we look sharp right now. So yeah.
How would you kind of evaluate how the offense played so far?
I mean, we're clicking on all cylinders. I mean, running backs are doing great. The O-line's blocking their butt off. So, and the receivers are always doing our job, running our routes or making our blocks. So it's looking great.
What are your thoughts about that quarterback room so far as a receiver yourself?
Yeah, the quarterback battle. I mean, they're both playing their butts off. I mean, there's either way the coaches go. I mean, we're going to be winning with either quarterback. So.
Have you gotten to know Poffenbarger a little bit since he came in? What's he been like to play?
Oh yeah, I mean, he's a light in the locker room. He's a fun guy to be around. He's a great quarterback overall, and I don't know, he's just a great locker room guy. Perfect guy to be around, so.
And you switched over from quarterback in high school, kind of had the process of feeling things out last year. Do you feel like you're ahead this year as compared to maybe when you started out last year?
Can you say that again? Sorry.
No, are you a little bit ahead this year with being used to playing receiver?
Yes, I think I'm way ahead than I was last year. I've learned a lot in the offseason. I've grown a lot as a receiver on the mental and physical aspects of it, so I'm excited for this year.
What do you feel like are those biggest lessons that you're taking away from year one heading into year two?
It's a good question. I think just knowing defensive looks, knowing my job every single play, and just doing it to the best of my ability, full speed every play. So,
as a receiver, what do you feel like are the biggest things that you kind of pick up on, with second year of this offense?
I think route running, being able to disguise what route you're running, sell different routes on different plays, make the DB off balance and stuff like that. So, I think that's a big part of my game right now.
Yeah, we mentioned that you played a couple different positions in high school. How are you kind of liking the wide receiver position and now your full year into it?
I'm loving it. I think it's the perfect fit for me, honestly. I mean, I love playing quarterback, but I think this is where I was meant to be, for sure.
Why do you think it kind of clicked with you so far?
I don't know. I think playing quarterback first helped me a lot, knowing how quarterbacks read the offense and knowing where they expect me to sit in zones and run all these different routes and being on the same page as them.
Yeah, even with playing receiver full time, you guys, be a quarterback at times last year. How was that experience like as well?
It was great. I loved it. I loved being able to be diverse, being able to go run routes, run the ball, and throw the ball even too, if I need to.
Do you feel like that throwing the ball ability will kind of always be part of your skill set?
I think so, for sure. Yeah, definitely.
How do you feel about your guys' mix at wide receiver?
Our mix?
Yeah, just the players that you've got. Yeah.
Right, yeah. I'm more of a, your bigger physical receiver, and, Miles is lightning fast, and we got the X receiver who's also lightning fast and a bigger Z receiver. I think we have great diversity throughout the room. Everybody contributes in their own ways, and I think we all bond really good together.
Do you think that'll make you guys more dangerous in offense, just the variety of, just the different skill sets that you guys possess?
100%, yeah. It's hard to get the right matchups on every single guy whenever we all have different abilities that we're able to do.
Going back to last year, what was your kind of mindset contributing early as a true freshman?
Yeah, it was do what I can do to help the team win, put everybody in the best positions possible, and including myself, doing whatever I could do.
You weren't the only guy, yeah. What was the kind of message from the coaches to all of you young guys as to how you guys believe you'll contribute?
Yeah, they just told us, they believe in us, go out there, play full speed. If you make a mistake, just make it going full speed. So that gave us a lot of confidence, knowing that they trust us, putting us out there to play as freshmen. So, yeah.
And going back to that scrimmage, how was it playing against this defense so far? And then who are some of the DBs that you've been competing against so far?
Yeah, I've been competing against EJ a lot. He has grown a lot. He's a great player. His feet are incredible. And this new defense is, top notch. They're great on all cylinders. So.
Yeah, we're talking to Ethan here in a minute. I know he's kind of brand new to this, but
Right.
what's around for spring practice? Have you gotten to know him at all?
Yeah. Oh, of course. Yeah, Ethan's a great player. He's huge, physical guy, has the length. He's going to be a baller this year.
What's he like as a guy? You got to know him personally at all?
Yeah, he's great to be around. He's a funny guy, loves joking around. But when it's time to turn it serious, he turns it on. So.
And then defensively, what do you feel like? What do you feel like the biggest challenges that the defense throws at you guys?
They like to mix up their coverages, make it look like man, drop in the zone, or blitz off of it. They disguise everything really well. I'd never know what they're walking up and running and off of motions. They roll safeties and everything. It's really confusing. Hard for an offense to know what they're about to do. So.
And how does this kind of offense kind of match up against that? You guys have your own kind of tricks and obviously this yourselves.
Right. Shoot. We're always going to be a tricky, confusing offense, using the space on the field with all of our different receivers and stuff. So, they've been doing great, trying to keep up with us.
I know you guys haven't picked a quarterback yet, but what's your confidence level that you guys will be, effective at that position once they do make that decision?
I think we have, two of the best quarterbacks in the American Conference, honestly. Either way they go, there's no wrong answer. Both guys are going to get it done, so.
Well, thanks, Wyatt. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, Ethan, so scrimmage on Saturday, the first one of the fall, how'd it go?
It was good scrimmage. It was good to see everyone out there playing, seeing all the guys connect and have different groups roll out. New sets of people to to work together to come play on Saturdays.
Feel good about the way that defense is coming together after that scrimmage?
Yeah, I really like it a lot, the way Coach Cassidy runs the defense. It's an aggressive style defense that it's hard to stop.
Yeah, and you're one of the interesting guys on this team, just because you played against North Texas last year and transferred in. How's the process of settling in with this program?
The transferring process was fun. I mean, kind of fun. It was good to come here. When Coach Rich messaged me on Twitter and Coach Morris, it was shocking because I played against them, but it was I like it here, and it was a good opportunity to come.
What is it you like about this place?
The coaches what stood out to me the most. I mean, I came here and I just felt like I got treated good. I was welcomed in by the coaches, and they have a lot of experience. Our whole D staff across the board had a lot of experience where give me more opportunities to grow and learn and become a better player.
Were you surprised to hear from North Texas?
I know they had followed me on Twitter, and so I was like, oh, maybe, who knows what they'll respond back. And after a while they did, so it was, the perfect spot for me.
It's the modern recruiting story when they followed you on Twitter and then
Yeah.
messaged
Yeah.
you and that kind of
Then
thing?
they message you, you're in the portal, it's like, oh, let me message out to all these coaches and then see who responds back. And Coach Morris followed me back, they all came at me, and then I was like, all right, let's get out here as soon as possible.
Hey, Coach said that you've kind of grown physically and as a player since you've gotten here. Do you feel that way, and why do you think that is?
Yeah, I feel like coming here, I was going off last season. I looked at my things, and I wrote down notes of what I need to work on, and I feel like I came here and I had the coaches that helped me and the strength staff to help me get me there, physically, and my football IQ has definitely gone up to learn how to play and what techniques I need to use. And coming here, Coach Rich has sharpened my technique to be really good.
Yeah, why do you think your football IQ has gone up? Is there something about this place that's helped you develop that way?
Just being able to understand the defense more, and I took my time a little extra to learn, not just the D-line stuff, but where the linebackers are fitting. And so I know on this play I have extra help inside or just different fits off the run and stuff.
Didn't any of the guys kind of say, hey, we remember you from last year?
Oh, yeah. When I first got here, the old O-line coach was making jokes because I had a pretty good game against North Texas, so they were making jokes about me and Larry in the locker room and stuff, but that's about it.
You didn't realize at the time that was an audition?
Yeah.
Against North Texas?
Yeah, and that was a lot of my my highlight tape was against North Texas, so that was good.
What do you feel like you kind of saw from North Texas in that game you played against them?
Oh, I mean, when we played against North Texas, the offense was explosive and quick, and a lot of you're not running the same play ever. Coach Morris keeps it going, keeps people on their toes the whole time, not knowing what's going to happen next. And I mean, you all saw the score, so.
It looks like you may have a chance to start here. When you came in, did you feel like, hey, I've got an opportunity here to really carve out a niche for myself?
Yeah, well, when I came here, it was they only had one returner idea, and so I was like, oh, there's all us transfer guys. It's equal playing field. I went to Wyoming. Their 6-year guys were their favorite. Their 5th-year guys were their favorite. They've been there for 5 years. It was more about loyalty than skill, and here it was open field. Who's going to play the best? And I came here. I was with the 3s at first, and slowly worked my way up, and now I'm with the 1 group. So it's been good.
How much weight have you put on since you got here?
When I was on my recruiting visit, I weighed in at 248, 249, and that was me trying to drink a little extra water, so I weighed in good. So I probably put on a good, 10 pounds, I'd say.
You mentioned that you worked up, your waist from the 3s to possibly, be a starter now. What do you feel like you were able to kind of show so far in camp?
I feel like one thing I tried to work on in camp to separate myself was my skill, my skill set. We talk about this all the time. I'm not the tallest, my arms are not the longest. I don't have the 6'7" frame, all that stuff. But for me, it's my technique's got to be on point, and I have to have the best technique in the room to make myself be a good player on the field.
You've heard a bunch of different perspectives about playing in this defense and then what makes it easy. From your perspective, how has it been so far?
Coach Cassidy makes us lets us play fast. We're not overthinking anything. We got our one job on this play, and you can, like what Coach Rich says, pin your ears back. Get off the ball and get off the quarterback. So it's more, you have more freedom here for sure.
Going to the scrimmage, Coach Morris mentioned that the D-line got a couple sacks on the offense. Just, how do you feel like the defensive line played as a whole?
We did good. I got a lot of stuff to clean up, technique wise, but it's looking a lot better than spring, I would say, and I'm excited for week 1.
Who are some of your favorite guys to compete against?
Can go against like on the offense.
Yeah.
I mean, our whole O-line's, great. You got like guys that have started over 30 games on the O-line. They're all really good. I like going against Jim Toe a lot. He makes me a lot better. That's one of the guys. But overall, across the whole board, our O-line is probably one of the best O-line I feel like in the conference.
Yeah, thank you.
Perfect.
Thanks, Ethan.
Awesome. Thank you.